Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the PLA podcast. I have an incredible guest here that I'm truly looking forward to interview and dive into all of these juicy details and interesting stories, experiences, and perspectives on AI. Rahul, Reddy, welcome to the PLA podcast.
Hello, Dunya. Thanks for having me.
It's a true treat to have you on here. And I'd love to formally introduce you to our audience that haven't had the absolute privilege that we've had at PLA to get to know you before we dive into all these questions that I have for you. And I can't wait for you to answer. So I'm just going to take a moment and introduce our incredible guest, Rahul Reddy. He works at the intersection of AI engineering and applied AI research, helping organizations bring artificial intelligence into real world environments. His expertise includes healthcare AI, agentic systems, explainable AI, responsible AI, and organizational AI transformation. He specializes in building practical AI systems that can operate effectively in complex and highly regulated industries. Beyond his technical side, Rahul is passionate about connecting AI strategy with execution, helping organizations align people, processes, data, and intelligent systems to create meaningful transformation. At his core, Rahul sees himself as both a builder and a transformation minded leader. His mission is to move AI beyond experimentation towards responsible adoption, where AI becomes an intelligence layer that empowers teams, improves decision makings, and creates lasting impact. Today, we'll explore his journey, his perspective on the future of AI, and what it takes to successfully lead transformation in an AI driven world. Welcome, Rahul Reddy. Wonderful to have you on here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for going over beautiful overview of it.
I love this part of the podcast, even though it's the very beginning, because it allows me to mirror back this incredible journey that you've been on, all of this experience, all of this knowledge that you've accumulated along the way. And it's a true gift. And it's fun because this is how it begins.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. Yep. I
Speaking of the very beginning, so many young individuals are now walking into the tech industry in a time where it's changing more than ever. And having once been in their shoes, maybe at a slightly different time, but still with rapid changing technology, what do you wish someone had told you when at the very beginning of your own career?
The one thing I could say is work hard. That's the only thing, the only formula right now. You have to adapt. Has this has been missing for me for the years ago, but now when this AI kicked in, adaptability is one of the major transformation. It will change how you think, how you move, and the solutions may not be sustained for longer time. You have to pivot so fast. So that's where you have to adapt and then move on and apply and make changes. That's where it's going to be until we reach a stage of, there's a different stages of an AI right now. So we are in an agentic world. So there is the next two stages which are pretty exciting.
That's incredible. And I love that piece around not just working hard, but the adaptability. And I really believe that one doesn't come without the other. Like it's really a mix between both, where we get this intersection of these two skills absolutely necessary for success and for a very impactful career, especially in tech, especially today.
Exactly, 100%.
Beautiful. And I'd love to know, Rahul, so many times I find that in podcasts like this one, we talk about the highlights, we talk about the accomplishments, everything that's worked really well. And we don't talk often enough about the difficulties and the challenges that, were essential along the way to get you to grow and evolve into who you are today and what you're creating and how you see things. I'd love to know, what were the major challenges of your own career and how did they serve you to become who you are today?
So taking challenges would be the one of the thing where it drives you, think you above and beyond. Having be a learner and also take a challenges, take risks. Then you will find a lot of different ways you ever could imagine you could able to solve, and that gives you a confidence. And then you keep moving it, and that builds up your portfolios too, and that gives your projects or your company, and everything is going to move on. Once you start doing it, it completely changes the entire game.
That's beautiful, Rahul. And what I love is just in your description of these key elements to be able to, move through your work and move through your career. you take a very active approach, as what we're noticing, and even in this conversation, like take the challenge, take the risk, work hard, adapt. From the picture that we're painting, it's very obvious that you're not someone to sit in the passenger seat. You're like, I want to be behind the steering wheel and I want to go full force into the opportunities that life presents to me. And so tell us a little bit more about that and where that energy came from. Were you always like this, or is it something that you acquired along the way? Was it a mentor, an inspiration from childhood? I'm curious to know where it comes from.
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. Specifically, the mentors, I never forget them, and gurus and all. The experience of what they have been through these many years. When you have a conversation with them, it kind of changed the perspective of, oh, this is a direction. This is a proven rule. It's a proven rule. You just have to agree with that and then move and apply. That's all. So those are the lessons. My mentors are my biggest strength, and also my supportees and who believe in me. It's kind of having a proximity makes a lot of difference in the life too. So that's where the breakthroughs happens. And I do see that when I'm in my early in the career, I started, and then later on when I met my friends who trusted me, who believed me, and also my mentors, it kind of changed the game. You have to be in the fastest way as possible, so that learn fast, fail fast, and move on.
I love that. I hope that ends up being a quote of this, learn fast, fail fast, and move on. And I think you're right. So many of us get overly attached to the outcomes or the failures, and we beat ourselves up instead of just continuing the process of attempting again. So, like, and it's so important, even though it's a highly competitive world and we're always, a lot of people are worried about making mistakes in this process. It's actually those willing to make those mistakes and to adapt and learn from those mistakes are going to be those that are truly successful. And you brought that key piece around mentors. None of us really achieve it all alone, and if it wasn't for them, those that really want to make it as effective as possible are going to need to reach out to the experts that have either paved the way before or have a slightly more, how do I say, seasoned perspective and experience on what we're trying to create.
Exactly. It changes the game.
It sure does. I have a question for you around leadership in the AI era. How do you see leadership changing now that AI is changing in all industries actually so much and so quickly?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So here's the thing: you have to have your principles for sure, but I think everyone needs to be a builder at this point, because the amount of knowledge which got acquired through the leadership, and then that needs to be put it as a work now. Before, most of the leadership couldn't able to build things. Now it's an opportunity to make in a working motion. Even if you consider for the biggest companies right now, they're building right now, because they know what does it didn't work before, what can work right now. So that kind of changes the perspective as a student, as a leader, which I follow throughout the journey. That is one of the principle. When you hold that principle, it makes it so easier, and then you drive, you make it, and you'll definitely be in a better position.
I love it. And there's a sense of like leading by example, right? If the levels of leadership aren't embodying and paving the way by leading by example, then those, that the teams that are leading can't actually embody that fully.
Exactly. It's contagious too when you do that, and I do see personally, and I do see in the teams too. So it's really a good energy. I believe in that, and once you have it, you're gonna run it and create beautiful wonders.
Amazing. And I hope people are taking notes as we're in this conversation. And not just that, is are also witnessing, your energy, your own energy, because it's like you can see you're passionate, you can see you're excited, you're open, you're very proactive in your process of growth, evolution, transformation, and wanting to achieve what's next for you.
Oh yeah, that is a really great question for me too. I'm also looking what's next for me. I look for challenges, and I mostly work on those aspects. That's my main area to grow, and also proximity. That's my rule number one. And talk to the people, and it has to be more than you. The impact has to be more than you. That's where it gives a moment of a joy and also a satisfaction, what you can capable of doing it rather than just sitting doing it. It would be very different. So maybe I'm lucky enough to have that kind of a skill, or maybe learn. It's not a skill which I got it, but I developed that skill in order to move my career towards that.
Absolutely. And I'd love to ask you a follow-up question on that, actually. What does impact mean to you, Rahul? How would you define impact?
Wow, yeah, the impact, it has to be, in a human society, it needs to be helpful. That's where I look for. Anything you build it or you make it, it has to, the humanity should take it, and then they should agree it should be responsible. That way, there is a meaning for that.
Wow, I love this. And it really goes and builds on your previous answer of it. The impact really has to be further than just of you, right? And it's like being helpful, we're amplifying it, you know, one fold, two fold, three fold, tenfold, 100-fold when we have an entire team or individuals that we're getting it to impact. I want to ask you a question to connect this theme of humanity back to AI. How do we learn to balance our humanity, or how do we reintegrate these pieces of humanity while we feel like maybe we're pulling a little bit away from it with what's happening with AI? What would be your take on all of this?
So anytime any systems come in, right, the one thing is human will be there always. So there is the number of neurons we have and all, it's unbelievable. So any system develops it, it can mimic a part of it, but not a lot of it. So you can have, everyone can have a robot for a specific task going forward for sure, but not for all the purpose existed in here. So it's really unimaginable right now, just to think of, oh, it can do all the work. It may not do all the work, it can do a few of them. So there is a line between what can be done, what cannot. So once you distinguish that self and work on what cannot, then that makes your joy. And if you work on what it will do it, then obviously everyone will do the same thing, right? So there's a difference. So understanding those kind of areas is really important when we getting into the next phases.
Wow, and it's so interesting you say that, because I feel like this highlights the major misconception around AI, and that has been almost at the forefront of headlines with this discussion around the topic of AI for at least the last 6 months to a year, maybe even two. And this piece around, if we focus on the things that AI cannot do, and then allow ourselves to be aware or informed of what it can do, it actually can serve to our benefit more than we even realize.
Exactly. It's all on the training data. So if there is no data, it wouldn't be possible, right? So it now it retrains again, but even though you need a new ways of thinking it, so it helps. So the point is you need to know where to draw the line, and which can human can do, you do that part. Which you don't want to, the repeatable things, hand it over, and then does amazing job.
That's brilliant. And what would be your unique perspective on AI's place and position in enterprise?
It's about a really critical, I can definitely say that there's a huge shift going to be for sure.
Okay.
And now it's like adapting all the tools right now, and people are doing it. There is for sure a productivity, but how you take that productivity and drive the organization is one of the biggest factor all the companies have to focus. And the readiness is one of the thing which everyone needs it. It's not a person or a 2% or a 10% can drive the company. Everyone has to be equipped with this. Then only it the company moves, everyone moves. Or else it's like you have a few people have the skills, but nothing's going to work. People will be scared out of it. So you have to have the knowledge of all, and then that's where it goes. It's just like previous technologies how we did it. It's the same thing. It's a matter of, it's a new shift.
Brilliant. And what I love is, like, you share the importance of everybody being on board, and a company investing in every single one of their employees, really, to get more versed, more literate, and just get, to increase their skills as being great users of AI, being able to integrate this technology. And yeah. And
Exactly.
It's funny. It's like I'm even thinking about certain companies in certain cases, for my own life, and I'm seeing a lot of companies as, assign this study of AI to a small group of individuals, hoping that the entire company is going to benefit. But I'm realizing that they may run into issues sooner rather than later from it.
Exactly, they don't understand, right? The language, it doesn't seem. At least you have to know a little bit of a language, what it does. If
Oh,
you're not in the same level, obviously it's like a Greek Latin.
brilliant, brilliant, fascinating. Okay. And I am curious, my favorite. Oh, actually, I haven't asked this. We are on the PLA podcast. I haven't asked this question in so long, but I love this question. What originally drew you, someone who's so driven like you in your own career and constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly investing in yourself? What drew you to a community like PLA?
PL is a great community because the mindset is the one which rarely people will have once you develop that, and no one's going to stop you. So it gives you a in the scope of a mindset so that you can drive things up rather than don't disappoint it. If you wanted to, for example, if you're working on something and it kind of went into the other direction, and there is a heart of a tendency to go into the going back to the same direction, but PLA helps to have in the rails so that you can progress things. So that is one of the best thing I have seen it. So I do. It's a good. I'm really fortunate and really lucky to be part of it.
Oh, we're lucky to have you part of PLA. Truly, it's someone who has invested so much in himself, really, and values growth and transformation so much. It's a privilege to have you in PLA.
No, thank you so much. Same.
Rahul, well, I'm definitely my favorite question ever to ask on the PLA podcast in the history of PLA podcast is what legacy and impact are you still looking forward to leave behind in the world?
It's has I was referring to the previous one, right? The humanity. That's my biggest thing. It has to reach the human. It has to be in a way where it could serve. When that happens, that's where the impact definition of impact is. Yes, it made an impact, even if it's in a life or if it's in an organization, if it's any category, make in a way no one ever could do it. So that's where, I mean, I'll that's a really a long way to do it. It's not a quick thing, but once you put your entire focus to it and work towards it, it's going to happen. And there are a lot of examples right now. I mean, I can go over with a lot of people. It does work. So
Incredible. Wow, Rahul, it's a true treat to have interviewed you today, and I'm looking forward to having you on once again as a guest, hopefully in the near future. And I hope everyone took some great notes. This has been a new perspective on AI, even though we've asked about AI quite a bit on the PLA podcast. This has been a completely different way of looking at it. So I hope everyone got a ton of value like I have had today. And Rahul, thank you so much for your time, for your expertise, for your perspective, for your experience. It's been an absolute treat having you on today.
thank you so much. By the next time, we would be seeing different things, but for sure, I'm happy to be part of it again.
Absolutely. We'll get the full AI update and the new perspective. I can't wait to ask you about it further as things continue to evolve. Absolutely. And for anyone who's curious and is just tuning into the PLA podcast for the very first time, I'll put the QR code to the next workshop. So many of us, myself included, have attended more workshops than I can count. And as crazy as it sounds, every single time I get so much value. And that's why I never fail to join to be able to extract as much of the goodness as possible. I always tell everyone, even if you never hear of PLA again, I recommend to everyone to join the workshop because you'll get so much value and so many tools that you can implement right away and get some results, which is a true gift. And like I said, even if you never hear about it again, I recommend it to everyone. So if you are curious and just want just a little bit more information on it, I'll put the QR code above over here. This will be the link to our next PLA podcast workshop. And I wanted to thank Rahul once again for the incredible guest that you have been and this incredible episode, and looking forward to having you on once again in the near future.
Thank you.
A true treat. And to everyone else, we'll catch you all for the next episode on the PLA podcast.